Let's see if this is working, because a minute ago it wasn't. Ultimate Baby Sleep Group. How are you guys doing? It is 11 a.m. EST here on a lovely Tuesday morning. Let's see if this is streaming in live. Oh, good, it is. That's exciting, because it doesn't always work. All right, well, we are here today to talk about nap transitions, okay? We have been seeing a lot of questions about nap transitions. Now, what does nap transitions mean? Before we dig on in, let me just find this here so I can know. Blah, blah, blah. 1 second. All right, I'm just looking for the thread. First of all, why did I decide to come in? We have been doing things so many different ways here in the Ultimate Baby Sleep Group, and it's been a while since I've done some lives. We tried our topic threads, we tried this, we tried that. We're just gonna hop on in. I'm gonna come on in when my amazing moderators and admins tell me that there is a general theme that you all wanna hear about. So yes, there's a lot of different ideas circulating. Obviously the big one is, how do I sleep, right? But we wanted to come in and talk about something more specific to help you all. So, number one, if you are watching live, please hit me up in the comments below. Say, hi, bot. Yeah, I can hear you. I can see you. And let's just dig on in and talk. So what are nap transitions? What does that even mean, nap transitions? As your baby gets older, your baby is going to transition to different types of routines, different types of schedules, right? We don't expect a 2-year-old to sleep the same way a 2-month-old does, right? And we don't expect a 6-month-old to sleep the same way an 18-month-old is, right? So the goal is that as your baby grows older and goes through physical developments and milestones and even setbacks and regressions sometimes, as that happens, you have a really strong grasp and a strong hold on how to transition through the different changes and sleep needs as your baby does grow older. For those of you who are in Rested Moms Club is our paid program. You know we talk about that in detail in our members area, right? We have tons of resources and videos that talk about how to know when to transition, how to transition, what to do. Okay, but for those of you who are not in Rested Moms Club, what it means is as follows. Typically, new babies, young little babies, home from the hospital, or all the way up really until about typically 6 months-ish, usually take 3-4 naps a day, right? A baby's very little at that age and can't stay awake for a long period of time. If you've watched some of our videos here in the group, then you know very well that we've talked about this so many times that when a baby is overtired, it creates more overtiredness, creates more sleep fighting, creates more nap fighting, creates more night wake-ups, more bedtime fighting, and like hello vicious cycle of overexhaustion, right? So it's a total myth that if you keep a baby awake longer during the day and they stay up, they're gonna be more tired at night. Not true, not true, not true. Thank you to all of our amazing admins and moderators here in the group who always tell you, no, no, no. Let's take a step back. Let's work on your baby's daytime schedule, daytime routine first, because that's the key. And that's why we're always talking about it and harping on it, because we want to build that baseline and that foundation of having a well-rested child. Because if you have an overtired baby, hey, Mary Beth, how's it going? Everyone else, by the way, say hi to me and post your questions about nap transitions as I get going. But if you have a baby that sometimes takes 4 naps, sometimes takes no nap, sometimes takes 1 nap, sometimes it's 2 hours, sometimes it's 20 minutes, that haphazardness is going to create a different form of exhaustion, which is going to set the undercurrent for sleep fighting no matter what you do. And that's why we're always saying, tell us about the schedule, tell us about the awake time, because it's really important, okay? This makes sense to you. Give me a little heart or a little smiley face or say, yes, Batya, makes sense. I've seen that video. Or gosh, what are you talking about? What video, Batya? Okay, let us know about that. Fine, so that's the first thing. That's why nap transitions are important. So what that means is, as your baby develops and grows older, this 3 to 4 nap structure, which usually means 1 to 2 hours of awake time, slowly lessens, and a baby's able to stay awake longer and nap less. And we'll go from 3 to 4 naps to 2 to 3 naps to 1 nap to no naps, right? And it's a progression as they get older. And the goal is that as your baby gets older, it's not suddenly like, oh my gosh, I have to totally rearrange the schedule. I have to totally start from scratch. Things are a complete disaster mess. What do I do? That's not the goal, right? In Rested Moms Club, what we talk about a lot, for those of you who are in Rested Moms Club watching the replay, or Aubrey and Katie, who helped me in Rested Moms Club with our members in there, we know that we create a routine in such a way where it just kind of flows into the next. You're ready to transition out of a nap, ready to drop a nap, ready to move forward and do that. And that's the goal that we want. Jen, my baby never naps. My 3-year-old wakes him every chance she gets. Now she's wanting to sleep in the stroller during walks. Okay. And sometimes you got to do what works. I'm not going to talk about right now, maybe if we have time at the end, maybe if we have time at the end, I'm not going to talk so much about How to make naps happen, that's another talk, another discussion altogether. As much as I want to discuss right now how to know when to rearrange your baby's daytime sleep, when your child is ready for a nap transition, and how to go about doing that. Bint, my 5-year-old asks, what are you watching? Something about sleep? Again? Come on, Mommy, enough about sleep. Sleep is no joke. You can explain to your 5-year-old that Mommy needs sleep to be a good mommy, okay? I went to bed insanely late last night, Bint, just so you know. I'm looking at the questions here. I went to bed at like 1 a.m., which for me is crazy. I'm a morning person. I'm up, ready to go, 5:30, 6 a.m., like to go exercise, get it going, but 9 p.m., like a switch turns off. I went to bed at 1 a.m. last night because I have so much going on with one of my kids, and he was up. He's older. He's 13, 14. We were talking, and then by the time, I'm exhausted today, and that's only one night. And Katie likes to make fun of my bowl of coffee, but it's no joke, and it's gone. I drank it already. All right, let's go through the questions, all right? So let's talk about this. First, before I actually dive into the questions, I want to talk about general rules of nap transitions and general structures of when things happen and don't happen, and then you can post your questions below about it, okay? Now, I was actually going to put this in the bio, the Baby Coach page, but I decided not to, whatever. All right, so typically, like I said, until about 6 months-ish, and I say ish because these are general overviews, just like we have our sample routines here. They're just generalized. They're samples. Every baby is his own unique universe with his personality and his sleep needs and his temperament. It's going to shift. But until about 6 months, babies usually need about 3 naps. Can't usually stay awake longer than 2 hours, which means every 2 hours they're taking a nap. Hopefully, potentially close to our sample routines, because that is pretty similar to what I would like to see happening with most of you. As a baby nears usually between 6 to 9 months, usually transitions out of those 3 naps and into 2 naps. Because what happens is the second half of the day, if a baby is taking a good nap number 1, a good nap number 2, and is well rested, is typically able to stay awake longer in the afternoon between nap 2 and bedtime. Then as the baby grows older, transitions more. And again, these are just general overviews, usually somewhere in that 15, 16 month bracket, sometimes all the way till 18, 19 months. So let's say let's be very generous here with time. And let's say 15 to 19 months. Usually a baby at that point will transition to 1 nap and be able to stay awake longer in the morning, take a good solid nap, and longer in the afternoon. Then as the baby continues, now I know a lot of you, this is going to be controversial because a lot of people message me and email me and call me and tell me about their 4-year-olds or 5-year-olds that are in daycare, and daycare is very rigid and adamant about taking that daily nap every day. I'm not even going to go down that road right now because it's complex, and those of you in Rested Moms Club know how I feel about this, okay? But typically around 2.5, 3 latest, most kids are really ready to drop that nap completely. So that being said, let's talk about some of the questions, and please post your questions about nap transitions if you're watching live here, okay? All right. Wrong thing. Okay, Aubrey just brought up a few of the most common questions here, so that way I could address them. So a lot of people, so Aubrey's first thing that she wanted all of you to know, and Aubrey and Katie, if you haven't seen, in addition to our amazing team of admins here, they are my right-hand sleep coaches also. How do you know when a baby is ready to transition from a nap in general? What are the signs, right? How do you know when a child is ready to go from 3 naps to 2 naps to 1 nap to no nap, all right? What happens typically? Okay? Hey, Ashley, how's it going? So usually you're going to know because something's going to be off, right? I'm not talking about a child that is a horrendous sleeper all the time and things are flying all up in the air and you don't know what's up or what's down. That's going to be really difficult to ascertain if a child needs to rearrange sleep, needs to have a different kind of structure, because things are not structured and stable to begin with. I'm not talking about that. If you have a situation where your baby or your toddler or your 6-year-old, 10-year-old, yes, I deal with that, believe it or not, is up all night, cranky during the day, never napping well, early rising, then we've got bigger problems than how to adjust the nap. We need to talk about teaching your child to sleep, period. So I'm talking about a child that sleeps well, takes good naps, and is a good question, okay? Okay, Ashley, post your question below when you're done, okay? So that being said, you'll know, right? Your child is sleeping through the night, generally, usually taking decent naps, whatever structure that is, whether it's 3, 2, 1, typically sleeps till a good time, and something suddenly goes like, conks you on the head, like, what's going on? Suddenly is fighting a nap. Suddenly won't go to sleep at bedtime. Suddenly is waking up multiple times in the night when your baby usually wasn't doing that. or something is off, depending on your child's age. I could go into each one specifically because there's actually different signs depending on your baby's age and how many naps they're taking and when to transition. So this is just more general, but you'll know, right? You'll see that something is off and something isn't working. I'm just looking if I have a tissue here, which I don't. Oh, I do. Hang on one second, everybody. I'm desperate for a tissue, and my tissue box is at the other side of my office. Hang on one sec. You get to see my gorgeous office. Hang on. Okay. Ugh, otherwise, I would be like sniffling the whole time while I'm talking to you. Okay, so typically you'll see something is going off and something isn't working well. So the question is, how do you do this? How do you start transitioning when you see something is off and something tangibly, clearly isn't going well? Because my child used to nap well, my child used to sleep better at night, my child used to sleep deeper at night, my child used to not fight bedtime, my child used to go down for this nap better, my child used to not wake up early, whatever your story is, okay? Because there's gonna be something that's gonna tell you, this is not going well. Something's not working well. So that is how you know. You'll just know because something's off, and you're all intuitive, smart parents, right? So that's what you want to work on first. Now, specifically, it seems like people have had the most questions with dropping a nap completely. So that's what I'm going to focus on mostly today during this talk. I'm going to mostly spend the next few minutes talking about how to drop a nap because it's the most challenging of all the different ones. When you've got a 2.5 to 3.5-year-old in that bracket and your child's ready to stop napping completely, that's the most challenging one in terms of your commitment and getting your child used to it. The other ones flow typically a lot better. So I'll get to those at the end if we have time, okay? So talking about that, all right, what that means is you've got a 2.5 to 3-year-old, 3.5-year-old maybe, who's sleeping through the night, taking a good nap in the afternoon, typically 1.5 to 2.5 hours, give or take, going to bed well at bedtime, and suddenly something stops working. Your child's fighting the nap. Your child maybe go down well for that nap, but will only sleep 20 minutes. Or is napping well, but suddenly is not going to sleep at bedtime well. Or is waking up a lot at night. Or suddenly waking up at 4 a.m. ready to go. Like all of these things where you'll be like, wait a minute, something is not flowing well the way it should. Something is not going well because previously my child used to sleep a lot better. So in such a case, this is the only time, if you've been following me for some time, you know that I do not like drastic measures ever. With parenting, but with sleep, with everything, I like to do things slowly, gradually, carefully. But this is the only situation where there is no in between. When you are helping a child stop napping completely and a child is ready to give up their nap because one of these reasons is happening or multiple reasons are happening, there's no in between. You can't just let them sleep for a half an hour and then wake them because that's unfair. Their body will be actually more depleted and more sleep deprived than if you don't nap them at all. You can't suddenly just let bedtime happen at midnight because they're fighting bedtime because that's going to throw everything off the next day. There is no in between only with this. Everything else with 3 naps to 2 naps and 2 naps to 1 nap or 4 naps to 3 naps, whatever, you can be a lot more liberal. You can be a lot more gentle, and you should be, and you can be a lot more slow. But with this, it's cold, cut and dry, drop the nap. And it's hard because you suddenly have this little person who has to stay awake for 12 hours, 11 hours straight all day long. Like, I'm an adult and I'm exhausted by 7 p.m. and I have a hard time staying awake all day. Like, these little people, what do we expect from them? Of course they're going to have a hard time, right? So it's hard. And what happens is you go on a car ride, you go do carpool runs, or you go to the doctor, you go run errands at 3, 4 p.m. and you look back and suddenly your 3-year-old's conked out in the back of the car. Or is slowly, you're giving dinner or whatever the story is, and suddenly you see they're coloring and they've conked out and fallen asleep on the floor while they're coloring, or they're tantruming. It's hard work. So I only recommend dropping a nap unless you feel it is necessary and it is time. If your child is before the age of 2.5, unless it's an extenuating circumstance, don't even go there because it's hard. It takes a solid few weeks for a child's internal clock and brain to adjust and catch up to not needing sleep, and you have a really cranky kid in the process while you're doing it. So it has to really be the right reason. You have to really need it and want it, and it has to be obviously the most logical next step in your child's development that's age appropriate and based on their sleep needs. Otherwise, wait, okay? If your child, though, is in the 2.5 to 3.5 bracket, you see they're showing these signs and they drop the nap, this is what you do. Number 1, do your best to distract them in the afternoon when they are tired, when they are cranky, when they are irritable, when they are moody, when they are falling asleep. I don't know if you want to give them treats. Don't give them treats. You can give them a yummy, crunchy, delicious apple and pretzels. You can play with them. You can color them. Keep it stimulating, okay? Because it's hard for them, and be mindful of that, right? A lot of people feel frustrated, like, well, what's going on here? My child is ready to drop the nap. Why are they so cranky? Because it's a transition. Everything is a transition when you're going from a new habit or you're learning a new behavior or your body is adjusting to something. So be kind and be understanding to your child to realize that they have a new need here and we have to be respectful of that and give them time to adapt to it. That's number one. Number two, if at all possible, try to avoid long walks in the stroller or car rides that are longer than 5-6 minutes, or even 5-6 minutes can sometimes after the 3-4 p.m. bracket, because it's kind of a recipe for your kid to fall asleep when they're tired. If you can't, you can't. Number three, if necessary, bump bedtime up a drop, okay? I am not an exacting, rigid, confined, play-by-play kind of person. If you follow us here in the group, we like to give you suggestions to help you, but we never say it must be exact, it must be precise, because we're not working with robots or machines. We're working with people, okay? And it's subjective, and it's going to be a little bit of a ebb and flow, and it's going to be a little bit off sometimes. Most of the time, it's not going to be an exact 5 minutes and 37 seconds and 10 milliseconds. Of course not, okay? So offer bedtime a drop earlier to compensate for that lost sleep as your child's adjusting. If your child normally goes to bed at 7, okay, I wouldn't put them to bed at 4:30 if they're falling asleep, but let them go to bed at 6:15, 6:20, 6:30, 30, 40 minutes earlier for a week or so they can catch up on that lost sleep. Because it's hard for them and they're tired, and you want to be mindful and respectful and considerate while also keeping your goal in mind. You don't want to suddenly let bedtime be 3 p.m. and then, wow, now I've got a jet-lagged child on a day-to-day basis who's going to bed at 3 o'clock for the night, every night, and I wake up at 1 a.m. and start my days. Of course that's not the goal, right? With a grain of salt, take my advice and mold it, obviously using your judgment and being smart about it, okay? Next thing, if your child, no matter what you do, despite your best efforts, falls asleep in the car because you had to go out, or I've seen, someone sent me a really funny picture. So one of my clients in Rested Moms Club, her child literally fell asleep as we were dropping his nap in a thing of pudding. Okay, and poor little guy, it was the cutest picture, but so sad. He was like sleeping, a little bit of like pudding here. Okay, it happens. It was sad. He was safe. It was cute. She sent me a picture just because it was sweet. Even though it was a little sad at the same time because he's tired, because he's ready to drop his nap. Because guess what? He's up from 3 to 5 a.m. every night, running the house and running amok and waking up his sister. And okay, we needed to do it, but sometimes we know that growth and change is sometimes uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be painful, but it's uncomfortable when we're stretching, when we're learning to get strong, and we can do 5 push-ups, but we want to learn to do 6. That 6th one is sometimes hard. It shouldn't be like horrendously excruciating, but sometimes we have to stretch ourselves a little bit uncomfortably to see that growth and that change, and that's what we're doing here with their sleep. So in a situation like that, her kid falls asleep in the pudding, or your child falls asleep in the car, or falls asleep while coloring, or goodness, just like conks out because they're so tired. What do you do? Again, this is the only situation where I'm going to be crazy rigid. I'm never rigid if you've been following me. I am all about gentle, loving, kindness, gradual, soft, empowering, incremental. Sometimes things are black and white, and sometimes we have to accept that, right? Not everything can be in this gray area, especially when it comes to this nap transition. So if they fall asleep, here's the thing, okay? And these are the only 2 times probably ever, if you've been following me, where I will ever say black and white rules, like just drop the nap. Here's a second time, okay? If they are sleeping for longer than 10 to 12 minutes, yes, that exacting. If you let them sleep for 13 minutes or 12 and a half minutes, anything past that 10 to 12 minute bracket, their body, even if you wake them up and they've only slept 13 minutes, their body is going to treat it as if they had had an 1.5 to 2 hour nap. So if they fall asleep in the car at 3 o'clock till 3:13, they're still going to fight bedtime till 10 p.m. that night, because their body will have treated it as if they have completed a complete sleep cycle or multiple sleep cycles and had a good nap, and they're going to fight you. So if they fall asleep in the bowl of pudding, like that Rested Moms Club member told me, wake them up, even if it's painful, okay? And I know it's so hard to wake up your sleeping child, especially when you're working hard at dropping the nap and rearranging things, and you finally have that blissful silence or that time to yourself. Or my poor child is so exhausted and so tired, you feel so bad for them, right? We love our kids more than anything in the world. It's so painful to watch them when they're uncomfortable. And finally, she fell asleep for a few minutes. even if she has pudding all over her face, right? Poor girl. Wake her up. Do what you can to wake her up, okay? I'm not telling you to like take a foghorn in her ear and splash cold water and ice on her. Of course not. Pick her up gently. Give her a glass of water, or juice, or a popsicle, or take her outside. Try your best to wake her up gently, lovingly, and do what you can because that's the goal you're working on. And if you can't, it happens in the process. It can take a solid few weeks to readjust a child's internal clock when they are transitioning out of that nap and they're ready to get rid of it. So be patient. It's not the end of the world if, oh my gosh, they slept 20 minutes or a half an hour because Batya said it's as if they slept 2 hours and now they're going to fight bedtime till 10. Guess what? They might fight bedtime till 10 that night or 9. That's the beauty of life. We have tomorrow always to start fresh again. So it's not the end of the world if it happens. Just do your best to wake your child up. And those are the 2 times you will hear me be strict. When you're dropping a nap, doing it cold turkey. And when you're dropping the nap, if your child falls asleep, don't let them sleep longer than those 10 to 12 minutes because it could be a situation where you think they're just like taking a little 15-minute cat nap and it's fine, but I don't understand why things still are sour, not going well. That's why. Okay? Does anyone have questions for me live, by the way, about getting rid of that one nap? Let's see what else the other questions are here. Let's look at Ashley's questions. She's 9 months. What are you doing wrong? So, nap structure. So there could be more going on. Ashley, send me a private message. Right now, our Rested Moms Club is closed. It's waitlisted, actually, because thank goodness we have a lot of people in there that we're helping, but we cap it at a certain amount because we want to make sure that we can have enough bandwidth to help everybody. But if you have a question, we do keep a few program spots open. Send me a private message, and I will talk to you. Some of you I'm talking about it in general because I do keep a few spots open to Rested Moms Club and a few other one-on-one programs with me if you are interested in getting help now and you don't want to wait till spots open up in my Rested Moms Club. So Ashley, send me a message, okay? What time should you offer the nap? This is a good question. Oh, right, we're talking about not offering the nap, right? And we're going to talk about that maybe in another live. Maybe I'll do one next week if it's still an issue. Today I wanted to really specifically hone in on dropping the nap completely because I think that's the biggest and most challenging one, Aubrey. But if you still see and Katie still sees and there's still a need for it, next week, following week, we can talk about 2 naps to 1 nap or 3 naps to 2 naps or sometimes 4 naps to 3 naps, whatever it is, because those are equally, sometimes boggling on your mind to figure out, but a lot easier to navigate and figure out. Okay? So send me a message, Ashley. Anyone else who has a question about nap transitions, stay active in the group. Keep posting in the group because we're here, we're watching, and like I said, I want to start coming in more often, giving you that support and guidance and talking about certain topics to help you, but I want to make sure it stays relevant. So I'm going to post a link actually right now. If you are interested in Rested Moms Club and you want to get on the waiting list, Rested Moms Club is I'm going to post a link here, is my program where you get to work intimately with me, Aubrey, Katie, start to finish, go through everything, learn exactly what to do and how to do it. It's waitlisted, so you can get on the waitlist at the link below, restedmomsclub.com. Or if you don't want to wait and you feel like, oh my goodness, okay, I want help now. I don't want to wait a month or so till spots open up. Just send me a private message. First of all, could be I could just help you by chatting with you, which I'm happy to do. Could be you can take one of the spots in that we do keep open. We keep a few program spots open for people who really feel like they're serious, they want sleep help, and they don't want to wait. So just send me a private message. My name is Batya Sherazin. I'm right here above. I'm the admin of the group. I created this group. Been a sleep expert for 13 years and I've been helping thousands of families, okay? And we want to help you too if you're ready. But get on the wait list. There's no commitment there. When we open spots, we'll let you know. You can check it out and see if you like it. Have a great day. Keep it up with naps. You can do this. You are all amazing parents in this group. And we're all here to help ourselves be thriving, rested versions. And that's what that's about, not pouring from an empty cup, right? Everything we're talking about here with sleep, with everything, we're doing it so we can be rested, so our kids can be rested, so they can develop, so they can thrive, so we can be emotionally sound to take care of them, okay? Have an amazing Tuesday, and I will see you all hopefully next week talking about any other ideas that pop up in the group.